Hi everyone, this is Brian Hayes and welcome to a discussion on register key and fingering basics for the clarinet. The register key is this long key situated at the back of the clarinet, just above the tone ring that produces the note F using our left-hand thumb. So for most of the notes on the clarinet, our left-hand thumb fully covers that tone hole at the back of the clarinet and produces the note F, which is the first space in the written music. So F, A, C, E, they are the names of the notes in the spaces, the 4 spaces of the 5-line 4-space music stave. So if we put our left-hand thumb over the tone ring here and completely cover that hole, the note we produce is first space F in the written music. Now what we want to do today is we want to go over the F major scale fingerings in the low octave of the clarinet. I'm assuming you should know those fingerings, but if you're an absolute beginner, let's go through them. So our thumb stays on the back note F. Our left-hand thumb covers that tone hole and stays on the note F. If we leave our thumb there and we put our first finger, as I'm showing you here on the video, over the first hole, that makes it the note E, D, C. Then we move down to B flat, A, G, and F. I'll go through those again. So left-hand thumb stays over the tone hole and covers that hole. We add in our index finger on the first hole on the front. That turns F into E. This turns E into D. This turns D into C. B flat, A, G, and low F. Note on low F that the little finger, there's 2 keys up the top there that it could hit. We're engaging the bottom of those 2, the key that's furthest away from the rest of our fingers on the right hand. That's low F. Okay, let's have a listen to what those fingerings produce. So that's an F major scale in descending order in the lowest octave of the clarinet. Now you need to get good at that. You need to be able to tongue those notes and slur them. I just tongue them. I'll now slur them where I'm relying on the accuracy now of my finger changes to start each note at the right time as I descend. Okay? And once you get confident at doing that in descending order, try and come back up. So try and do this. Okay, so that's a 1 octave F major scale in descending and then ascending order. And you'll notice when I played that I tongued every note and I also did the exercise on 1 breath. I'd like you to try and aim for that. It should be quite easy, but if you're new to the clarinet, take your time, breathe where you need to. But if you're taking a good breath and if you're not sure how to breathe for the clarinet, have a look at my video on breathing for the flute. It's the same concept for all wind instruments. If you're not sure about tonguing, check out my video on tonguing basics for saxophone and clarinet. I'm assuming that you have either looked at those videos or you are comfortable with both breathing for the clarinet and tonguing. But please check out those other videos if you're not sure, and it'll be a good refresher to check them out anyway. Okay, we're trying to get to the stage. I'll just slur them now. 1 breath, down and up. And you can play around going in the other order. And trying to increase your speed and fluency. Okay, you haven't got to play that fast, but it's actually quite easy to do it once you train your fingers as to what they've got to do in the order of events. Okay, I want you now to convince yourself that you can tongue an F major scale in ascending order through 1 octave starting on low F, just like this. Okay, Did you get it? Assuming you're good at that, we're now going to engage the register key. And by engage the register key, I simply mean we're going to leave our thumb over the F tone hole, but we're going to wiggle our thumb towards the clarinet. So basically, if you just look what I'm doing here, I'm not lifting my thumb up off the F note and putting it on the register key. I'm just rocking my thumb forward. The tip of my thumb, I'm moving the joint here on my thumb, using that joint to be able to depress this end of the register key. As I push that down, because it's on a pivot, the register key will open up and open up that hole in the clarinet there, which is what we need it to do. Okay, when we do have the register key depressed, what it does, it shifts every one of the notes we've just played in the F major scale up a major 12th. What that means is it will play the 12th note of an F major scale when you depress the register key and you're playing low F. So think of the notes in the major scale as numerals rather than names. F would be note number 1, G would be 2, A would be 3, B flat would be 4, C would be 5, D would be 6, E would be 7, and F would be 8. That F number 8 is 1 octave higher than note number 1. Okay, but we said it would shift it up 12 notes up the scale. So if we start from the F number 8, G would be the number 9, A would be number 10, B flat would be number 11, and C up another octave would be number 12. So what we're saying is that low F, note number 1, when we depress the register key and leave everything else the same, now becomes note number 12 in an F scale. So it becomes this C 1 octave higher, and it'll sound like this. So low F becomes note number 12, C up an octave higher than the C that sits within the low octave of the F scale, like this. Now the register key couldn't care less which fingering you're playing, what note you're playing. Whatever note you're playing down low, when you depress the register key, it is going to shift that note up a major 12th higher. So that means that an F major scale played in the low octave, if we use exactly the same fingerings, depress the register key, an F scale will actually become a C scale and end up on high C, C above the 5 ledger lines. Let's test that out. So first of all, we'll tongue that low F major scale we've been practicing. Now the only change we'll make is we'll depress the register key and play exactly the same fingerings, and listen what we end up with. We end up with a perfect C major scale shifted up a major 12th from where we started. So we end up playing a high octave C scale and a low octave F scale. Let's go through those notes individually from the low fingering and what happens when we put the register key on. So we've just said that low F becomes C, G becomes D, A becomes E, B flat becomes F, C becomes G, D becomes A, B becomes E, and F, even though we've got no fingers depressed other than our left-hand thumb, when we add in the register key, F becomes high C. And this is what that interval will sound like if we take each pair of notes individually. Depending on on what strength you've got in your embouchure, if you're a beginner, you're probably going to find that you're not going to be able to play up the entire distance of the C major scale. We're ending up on a high note there, high C. That's a high note on any instrument. You might find that when you engage your register key and starting on the note C, you might find that you peter out relatively quickly in that scale. It might sound like this for you. And then nothing happens. Now, all I had to do to create that effect was just loosen my grip on the mouthpiece, relax my embouchure. To play that scale and keep it in tune and get those high notes out, we need a strong embouchure. So if you're having that effect as a beginner when you're trying to shift the F scale up to the C scale, check out my video on building embouchure strength for wind instrument players. I highly recommend the exercise in that video as the fastest way to build the necessary strength we all need as wind instrument players to be able to play with a good sound, and particularly with an extended range on our instruments. We do need good muscle strength around our lips to be able to do that, and I just ask you to check out that video, Building Embouchure Strength for Wind Instrument Players, and do the exercise that is prescribed in that video. It might take you a month or 2 months, but you'll find that if you stick with that exercise, that you'll be able to do just like I'm doing now, to be able to play your F scale down low with no register key, and do the same thing, put your register key on, and the notes will just pop out, whether you're slurring them or tonguing them. It's all about the right embouchure strength for the register you're playing in. This key on the clarinet of itself will not produce the note. You've got to have the right air speed, the right tongue position, the right embouchure strength, and the right fingering for the clarinet to play those notes. It's not like a piano where if you hit the right key, the note will come out, assuming the piano's in good mechanical working condition. Okay. That's all I really want to cover in this first volume discussion on fingerings and the register key. So we'll just go over one more time. We've talked about the notes in the F major scale. That's no register key. The F major scale in the low octave, the lowest octave of the clarinet. We've said that if we apply those same fingerings but just add in the register key throughout, don't change anything at all with the fingerings of the F major scale, the clarinet will shoot all of those notes up a major 12th. We counted out what 12 notes up from low F was, and we found out that it was actually this C. Not the first C that you run into in the scale, not this one, because that's only note number 5. Remember, the register key will shoot the note up 12 notes up the major scale. So low F becomes third space C. F below the ledger lines, right below the ledger lines, becomes C in the third space. It's an octave and a half higher. And then we said, well, whatever we can play in the low octave in the key of F will automatically shift to the key of C 12 notes higher. Let's finish by just playing a simple melody down low in the key of F. I'll play Mary Had a Little Lamb, the nursery rhyme, which only uses 4 notes, A, G, F and C down low. I'm sure you're familiar with this melody. Okay, that's in the key of F. Starts on an A. A, G, F, G, A, G, 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 A, C, C. Okay, if we put our register key on, that's going to convert that melody into the key of C up 12 notes. The fingering will be the same, in the same order, but the sound will be much higher. So that's a great example of the impact that the register key has on the clarinet. It changes key and it changes the note up an octave and a half. In the next two videos on register and fingering basics, register key and fingering basics, we'll explore the range of the clarinet further. We'll also fill in the missing gaps in our fingerings in the F scale. We'll play an F chromatic scale. We'll turn that into a C chromatic scale. And then we'll talk about filling in all of the gaps so that we can eventually play in the volume 3 version of this tutorial. We'll be able to play across 3 full octaves on the clarinet. We need the register key for all of that, and you need to really put the time in to understand that conversion. F to C, G to D. You need to go over this tutorial. If this is new to you, it's not that complicated once you get your mind around it. Okay, I hope that's been of some help to you. As always, stay in touch via my website, www.brianhayes.biz. That's B-I-Z. Drop me an email if you have any questions on basic questions on music fundamentals. If you'd like to arrange a one-on-one Skype lesson, it's a fantastic way to share knowledge with students all around the world. Just get in touch with me through my website, and hopefully your journey to master the fingerings and the register key on the clarinet has started with the basics that we've went through in this Volume 1 tutorial. Bye for now.